Welcome to the Rod and Cyndee podcast. My name is Rod Lyman. We're here live at the New Vision Center in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a beautiful sunny day out today, and I'm having a great time today. I'm got some really great friends that come around here, and I haven't seen for a while, and that I'm just having an amazing time. I have this beautiful co-host, and she's to the right of me, and her name is
Cyndee Mewby. Thank you.
Gosh, not the Cinderella, huh?
I'm always Cinderella.
Of course you are, honey.
Because she's so beautiful.
Aww.
The belle of the ball.
The belle of the ball. I like that. What does belle of the ball actually mean?
Belle of the ball.
Okay.
A beautiful lady at the ball.
The beautiful lady at the ball.
I don't know.
Well.
Sounds good to me.
Well, we have a special guest today, don't we?
We do. It's an old-time friend and a lovely one at that, Ray Kapikowski. He is here with us. He's going to be sharing, we're not sure, he's got a variety of things he would like to share, and so that's going to be the variety show, I guess.
Oh, yeah. It's a variety show with Ray. He's an amazing person. Before you even talk, Ray, okay? By the way, you can say hi.
I'm dying.
You're dying. He's dying.
Dying to talk, okay.
But are you really?
No, really.
Are you purging yourself right now? Interesting. I have a little story to tell about Ray, and I love the story. Ray went to and became a hypnotherapist, and I never been able to be hypnotized ever in my whole entire life, and I've had many people try and everything else, and I just keep wandering off. It's like I'm not even here. I don't listen to hypnotherapists half the times and everything else. But Ray says, "Hey, I want to try something on you." I said, "Okay." I guarantee you, within seconds of him going through his little spiel and everything else, and that I couldn't move. I'm sitting on the couch. I am just solid there, and I'm like, I know I'm just staring into space, and I'm just zeroed. And that I've never had anybody ever hypnotize me, and he did, and it was just, I went away. I've always been in control of my body, where I'm at, and everything else. And Ray did that to me. It's just something he did. It's just he's amazing.
He is. He was my one and only hypnotherapist, and had a couple sessions. And the second one was fabulous, amazing, made me cry. It was real quick. It was on 11/11/2011. And when I was walking up to the door for my appointment, I looked down. I'm like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. I'm on time. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was 11/11/11. And that was the second appointment, and that was amazing when you helped me send my grandma home. Thank you.
Thank you. That's cool. Yeah, I was, that second time, I was very connected too. Actually, I was sort of like disconnected and connected. Mm-hmm. So that was, I appreciate you giving me that opportunity.
Yes. Well, I've always heard about it, but was always a little bit skeptical, because you hear stories, good and bad, or what have you. And but I got to know you a little bit, and your friends, Rod and Janet, and so forth, Cynthia. And so I felt very comfortable with that, and going to your place for things. And so I thank you for that, for allowing me to have that experience and have it be wonderful.
Different people have, across the time, different people have had an effect on me, or a connection that I felt with them. And both of you guys, I've always felt that connection with, And so, when you have somebody that's dealing with something, and you want to see them, and you're connected, and you want to see them power through it, there's an extra kind of incentive or something that happens. There's like, I'm going to talk about it later on, but about that universal connection with somebody and their energy. So, every time that happens to me, it's sort of another little stage of enlightening for me.
Right on.
So.
Well, and you've been very intuitive, as I read your bio, for many years now. I won't say how many, but you said as a child it came to you, and you were Doc on the block, huh?
Yeah.
What's that about? I love that.
Actually, let me see here. I was in San Diego. I had done, over the years, I had done a tremendous amount of LSD and, hallucinogens and anything that I could get my hands on. It started out mostly with the idea of back then it was spirituality. It was, you were doing acid to try and find God, and then it turned into a party drug. But I ended up in San Diego in a bar one time, and a guy had a problem with his shoulder, and he was showing me this thing, and I was just drawn to do energy work on him. I had no idea what I was doing. And the next thing I knew after that, I mean, most of the time I couldn't remember anything anyway because, I was pretty drunk most of the time. So I'm sober now 33 years, by the way.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Beautiful.
Thanks. It was necessary for everybody around me.
Oh boy, God bless you.
But in San Diego, they started, his wife came to me, and then friends came to me, and people would come for all different kinds of healing work. And I have never been the kind of person that thought it was me. I would do these things and go, what the hell am I doing? What's going on? But as long as they were accepting, and as long as they believed in it, then there was no reason for me to stop them and say, this is, I really don't know what I'm doing. Until I had a couple times where women brought babies to me, and like colicky babies that had different things going on. And when they got better, then that really shook me. That was like, well, how do you? It wasn't like working on somebody that was using me as an excuse to heal themselves, which is what I think a lot of times. It's like I represent an open space for them to do what they need to do for them. But babies was a different thing. That was strange. So, when the next day when somebody comes to you and says, my colicky baby is absolutely fine, and they were in pretty bad shape prior to that, I didn't know, and I
Wow.
never really quite understood that. So,
That's awesome, though.
But you must have had some sort of a knowing that this was coming through you, right?
I don't know, Rod. Did I know it? I don't think I did. I really don't think I did. And I was always in my own space, and that's what I'm finding out right now. Is that I'm going to be 68 in a couple of weeks.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I know.
Wow, happy birthday.
I keep telling these people in thrift stores, I'm going to be 70. This girl says, "You're going to be 70?" I said, "Yeah, in 2 years."
So are you. You're going to be 70 someday too.
Yeah. So I'm. So anyway, where the hell was I?
We asked a question about if you knew something was where it came through. A knowing.
I don't. I honestly don't know. But what's coming to light right now is that there seems to be a disconnection with a universal channel, and I've got some. I have some things that I was thinking about talking to you guys about that sort of shows what a universal channel is about, and how that seems to work, through me. So. I guess I can go into that.
Yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah, what is it?
Well,
build
okay.
this.
All right. So I have two examples that are really very important, very big examples for me. And one of them was about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I had a girl come to me, and she showed up. She was supposed to, so I was still doing a lot of hypnosis at the time, and she came for hypnosis. And she sat down in the office, and she said, "Can I ask you something before we start?" I said, "Sure, of course you can." And she said, "I wanted to talk to a woman about this." She goes, "I don't know why I chose you, but, from your the reviews and all that stuff." She goes, "But now I'm here and I'm a little scared." I said, if it's any help, I'm as close to a woman as you can get. Being a man, there's only men and women. You don't get any closer. And so she said, "Will you have any problems with female issues?" And I said, "Well, how about this? How about, there's nothing in relationships that you couldn't talk to me about, and there's nothing about sexual things that you couldn't talk to me about. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to do anything." And she said, "Well, it's actually more about the female body." And I stopped for a second. Rod, you may have heard this story before. I stopped for a second and I said, "How long have you had a yeast infection?" And she looked at me and she was shocked. And she wasn't the only one. I don't know, it just like blurted out.
Right.
And so she said on and off for about 10 years. And I said, well, look, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's going to be a strange question. It's going to be a really odd question. I said, and the wording is going to be weird, and it's very purposeful. I mean, the way I'm going to ask you this is going to be weird, but it's going to be important. Are you okay? And she said, a little like leery, but she said, yeah, okay. At that point, when she said, okay, me and her, we were in the exact same spot because neither one of us had any idea what I was going to ask.
Right.
I had no idea whatsoever. I was sitting there going, holy crap, this better be good. Because, I mean, I built it all up. And I sat there and I said, when you were a little girl, what did your mother call the space between your legs? And she said, well, nothing. I said, as you got older, what did you call the space between your legs? She says, she was confused, and she says, well, nothing really. And I said, now that you're a grown woman, she's in her 30s, I said, what do you call the space between your legs? And she said, well, I don't know, I guess my VJJ. And I said, well, okay, so you watch Oprah, that's good. And I said, well, how can your subconscious heal something that it doesn't know is there?
That's good.
So I sent her back with a whole bunch of things to do at home. We did the session, and I sent her back with an idea about these are my toes, this is my ankle, this is my thigh, and on, and everything getting the exact same, nothing more important, nothing more urgent to recognize, just this is my body. This is perfectly my body. And a couple days later, she called me up and she said, clean as a whistle. She goes, I feel fantastic. So I said, okay, so anyway, but the idea about channeling that kind of thing is sort of, it's interesting and it's sort of scary because I don't know. I'm always worried that it's going to show up or not. You're going to be there today and all that stuff. But the other one was, so Janet's been asking me to write a book forever. Okay,
let's introduce Janet first, okay?
Oh, okay.
Hi, Janet.
There's my honey.
Hi, Janet.
Isn't she
Beautiful.
beautiful?
Yes.
Yes, she's a beautiful woman.
And she's a Gemini, right, Rod?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, go Gems.
All the gems here.
Yeah, all three of us.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you guys want me to leave?
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm sorry you brought in a character and nobody can see who she is, so we just have to bring this character to life.
Yeah, she's pretty hot.
Yes. Okay.
So how far back do I need to go with this thing? Okay, so all right. I'm always thinking that everything is about me because I'm a little nuts, and so about a month or two ago. I said to Janet that we were, at least I think I said to Janet, I don't know. But anyway, I was like looking at my schedule at the office, and I was doing 15 to 20 people a week on average. And because I'm totally unorganized, my people would show up at like 9 o'clock, at 11:30, and then at 6. And I mean, all over the place. I'd never have them like 3 in a row like a normal person does. So, it screws my whole day up.
Right.
And so I'm never able to do anything else. I'm always either traveling back and forth or running to thrift stores. But my day is a mess. I don't get anything done. So I said, I love my work, absolutely love my work. But I know that I'm supposed to be writing, and I know I'm supposed to be out there speaking. I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. So what I'm doing right now in my business is a distraction. It's keeping me away from doing my bigger job. So, okay, so about a week later, the business dies. I'm down to like 3 people now,
Wow.
And sometimes 4 or something like that, just enough to keep me going,
Right. Yeah.
like that. We talk again, and she's like, well, okay, so time to start writing the book. Okay, so obviously that's what's happening. Universe takes everything away so I can go ahead and start to write this book. So in alcoholic fashion, instead of writing one book, because if one book is good, two books are better,
Right, exactly,
that kind
yeah.
of thing. So I start writing two books. So now I got two books going, and the one book is from my business side of it. It's five easy steps to a healthy selfish relationship. It isn't written, but it's fantastic. The other book is based on my talks, the seminars that I give. It's the whole ball of facts, and
Right.
so I want to talk about attention later on, but so it's this whole thing about the ball of facts. So because we're talking about universal connection, I was amazed by this. Okay. Each one of the sections of the whole ball of facts is completely different from one another. There's a section on awareness. There's a Big Bang theory. There's a chapter about reincarnation. All these kinds of things. There's different stuff. So in the middle of the night, I wake up and I recognize that my next chapter is going to be called "I See Dead People." Okay? I see dead people. What was happening with I See Dead People is that for a while I was seeing dark humans, okay? And dark humans, this is I'm projecting into the future because right now it's very important for African Americans to be blacks and for them to be African American because there's so much that we have to learn as human beings before we can start to get rid of these names. There's no white people. I mean, you look at a whiteboard, there's no people that look like that. We're all color, we're all some type of shade of, brown or something like that. We're all human beings. So anyway, I was seeing these dark humans and the energy was rising up and dropping back down. And it was rising up and dropping back down. And I'm watching this happen. And I'm like, what the hell are you trying to show me? Because I get messages all over the place. Sometimes I'll get words or sentences. I get images. I get pictures. I get direct talking. So I'm watching the energy rising up and down. And I'm looking at it. And I'm seeing that it's actually energy that is the same everywhere else, but this energy happens to be infused. It has some kind of it's got a purpose. It has some type of connectivity. So
Right.
I'm watching that, and I recognize that it's the same energy that's in lighter skinned people too, lighter humans. And then I'm thinking, oh, okay. So what it's telling me is that we're all together. We're all the same. All right, I got that. And then I see it in our cat, and then I see it in other animals, and then I'm seeing it in trees, I'm seeing it in buildings. Everything that has energy is all the exact same energy. I'm
Right.
thinking, okay, so this is pretty cool. So I went from that, and I decided that what I had to do is make some type of bridge from people recognizing that first and foremost, we are none of the things that define us. We are human beings. All of us are human beings. And when you recognize that we're all connected, there's a responsibility that goes along with that to make sure everybody is doing well, everybody's on board. Then I realized that it goes further than that because actually in true form, we are all energy. We are all universal energy. So if you think that you're a human being, if you get to that stage where you recognize that you're a human, you're still keeping yourself separated from the universe.
Right.
But if you understand that you are simply energy, then you are connected to all the energy in the universe. Your power is like 1,000-fold. Okay? So this is what I'm going to write. I'm going to write this thing about I See Dead People. This is my next chapter. I wake up in the mornings. I got it all together. I'm going to go for it and everything. I write the chapter. It has nothing to do with anything I told you. Nothing. There's no mention of dark people. There's no mention of anything like that. It is completely different. And it ends up, the whole chapter ended up being the creation of a spirit. And so I'm like, I didn't have anything to do with that. That was not my intention. I'm sitting writing this whole thing out going, really? Thanks. Like, how about me? Doesn't what I think count? So I'm going to have to sneak what I wanted to into another chapter without me knowing about it.
Without me
I
knowing
can
about
see
it.
that. I mean,
I love it.
you've putting out there what the spirit wants you to, or whatever the universe wants you to put out there, but then put out your own twist of it.
Yeah.
And so that this is how you see this too. And I can see you doing that too, because sometimes what comes out of your mouth isn't what's in your head.
Luckily. Luckily.
Because Janet is your filter sometimes. I know that.
Yes.
Yes.
She's your savior.
Savior.
God, in more ways than
Okay,
one.
that's really interesting. That it's more like what you're realizing is a realization of the energy of the world, and not seeing people as the physicality of the world. You're seeing more people in the energy of it.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, because that's kind of how I see things most of my life growing up, is I see the energy of it. It's so much better to live in the energy world than it is in the physical world.
There's so much more to it. We talk about, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is awareness and awakening, and how in our community, a lot of people that talk about awareness and talk about what it is that they do, their different modalities, and don't understand how limiting those things are. They're great and they're very important. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody should not do that, but the expectation should be that it is not the end all. What we learn, what we teach each other, that's not the end all. There's so much more. And we have to grow and take steps to go into different stages. I've never been the kind of person that's been able to learn anything. Now, I don't know, Cyndee, if you know this, but I learned how to read about 13 or 14 years ago. It's the first time I ever read a book. So I don't have a lot of, I've never been able to study things. I don't know these things, and I guess it's for a reason. It's because I'm connected with my information, to be able to show people a different way of looking at stuff. So I think that it's really, I don't know. I think that my idea about being a universal channel is really about as best as I can describe myself, But when I think about stuff like our awarenesses and the awakenings and things that we talk about as healers, sometimes I look at that stuff and I go, it sounds like we're trying to escape rather than trying to help.
No, I have to agree with that. I've been actually thinking about that same thing. When you just
We
said
talked
that.
about that.
We
a
actually
little
talked
bit.
about
Yeah.
that, exactly.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, and especially with things like, maybe I should talk about that other section. When people talk about ascending,
Right.
We're ascending. It's like, that sounds great. And it really is something that is like, wow, that's cool. I want to ascend, Where the hell are you going? When we're talking about ascension, where are we really going? As a community, if I'm going to ascend, I'm going to leave other people back here. That's basically what it is. I'm going to feel better, and I'm going to, become more spiritual and all this kind of stuff. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to become more spiritual. And if I'm going to be more spiritual, then that divides me from my connection to universal energy and universal knowledge, universal spirit. It's sort of the image that comes to me about ascension, and the way that we talk about that kind of stuff is a person that is exercising their hand. And they're working their hand, and they're exercising it like crazy, and they're making their hand really strong, okay, because they want to do something with their hand. But they forget about the rest of the body, so wherever they're supposed to go to use this perfect hand, this great hand, they can't get to it. You know, they're not able to move because the rest of the body has got to come along.
Right.
We're all human beings. We all have to come along. We cannot leave other countries in the lurch. We can't do these kinds of things.
Agreed.
But we also can't look at them in with the idea that any of this can happen now. It can't. This is a growing stage. We have to recognize that. First off, we have to recognize that we're not all that. Because as human beings, we think that, you know, we're the top of the heap and all that kind of stuff because nobody else tells us that we're not, you know.
Right.
And we're just, I mean, we're pretty dumb. You know, there's a lot of growth that has to happen. But when you think you know it all, you don't grow,
Absolutely.
you know. So it is a thing of trying to connect, of recognizing that it's more important to bring everybody else along than it is to go by yourself,
Absolutely.
you know? And so that's,
So back to the ascension then. What in your own words is ascension?
well, I don't really, ascension. What I would like it to be is recognizing that you don't have a clue of what's going on.
Exactly.
You know?
That's,
I mean, ascension to me, my mantra in life is I have absolutely no idea what's happening, but I know that I'll be okay.
Absolutely.
No matter what
no
happens.
matter what happens.
You know?
Very
And
good.
so, because ascension has something to do, and when people learn things, it has something to do with what it is that they're learning and how it locks them into that space. So I learned how to do Reiki. And so I have all these symbols that allow me to do Reiki. Now that's fantastic, and
Right.
it works. But it's limited to what you learn. You may be able to take that Reiki class, and you may be able to learn it, and you may be able to add something to it. But the likelihood is that you won't know that you did.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
know, you won't get that because you're not thinking in those terms
Nope.
to actually make something greater out of it. You
Right.
know. It sounds like I'm putting it down, and
No,
I'm
no,
not.
I'm not.
You
No.
know, I really don't want people to get the idea
No.
that I think that anything is bad. It's very, very necessary.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, but people have to understand that maybe not them, and maybe not their children, but somewhere down the line, a new plan, a new message has got to take root.
Absolutely.
You know, so that eventually we can start to change things around.
So Reiki would be like a step in ascension.
Of course.
So if I
Yes.
told you that there's a couple gurus out there that believe that we're sent here for a reason,
Uh-huh.
okay, that we're come to Earth to have a job,
Oh boy.
to serve. I know, just
Oh
wait.
boy.
And since we're serving here and that, we're supposed to stay here.
Uh-huh.
Everybody wants to ascend back into the universe and that, but we're not supposed to. We're supposed to stay here and experience life and teach other people and that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in that theory?
I don't know. All right. So you're leading me right into. I'm going to have to.
Of course
talk,
I'd
I'm gonna
like
have
to lead
talk
you.
about this.
You don't like to talk about
No,
that?
no, I'm going to have to talk about this.
Okay.
Because it's my job. When I was talking about I see dead people.
Right. Yes.
Okay, what that whole chapter ended up being about is the creation of a spirit.
Right.
Now, I'm going to try and it's new to me too, so I'm going to try to get it out clearly. Okay, what it was saying is that the first thing that I saw is that I saw that a child, when a woman is pregnant, the child begins as an offshoot of her. And it utilizes her energy, it utilizes her spirit. Okay, when she finds out that she's pregnant, and this baby is starting to form inside of her, she infuses that child with intention. She cares about it, she loves it, she thinks about its future, she wants all these things, and all of those intentions are energy that connects to the child, and it eventually will become that child's spirit. Okay, and that child's spirit, you know, when it leaves the woman and is on its own, it has to have, it starts off with love and caring and all this kind of stuff. The base of it is connected to the DNA. Okay, so the man's part in this situation is that he puts in the last piece. The child starts to form. The man can affect the spirit as well because he has an intention. He has a directed intention that is connected to his DNA that's part of this child. So you've got two people's DNA, two people infusing the energy around that child to make it its own, to give it purpose, give it, its life. Now, the DNA has got millions of years of being energy and all that stuff, so that when you're talking about reincarnation, that DNA is there. When you're talking about past lives, that is part of that DNA. It's all there, has to be there, and people are constantly evolving in that sense. So I asked whether there was a line of people waiting to be a part of this, like you talk about with probably didn't hear any of that. I'm walking away from the mic.
No, I turned it up. It's all right. I heard you.
So, when you're thinking about reincarnation and when you're thinking about people making deals and all that stuff is possible, but it is more connected to the DNA than to spirits standing on the outside waiting in line to come in. It has a lot more to do with the woman structuring that bit of energy to bring it in, and the DNA having all that information to work from.
Right.
You have a predisposition in your DNA to act and to do all these different things, and then the spirit is what is there to help guide that knee-jerk reaction that's caused by the DNA. Make a little sense? Am I too
sense.
Out there?
No. That's total sense. Absolutely, it's information within the DNA that we're working upon.
I think that we complicate things too much. I think that we miss this. We miss the fact that we are simply human beings, that we are all connected, that we should be loving each other, because it's advantageous to governments, it's advantageous to religions to have things that they present to us as maybe as beliefs, and that we're supposed to connect to the beliefs for our comfort.
Right.
Okay? So, and the belief has less than a 50-50 chance to be right. So there's if anything even comes close to a 50% chance of being right, then it's proof.
Right, exactly.
So we're comforting ourselves with the idea that somebody else gave us this information and they hope it's right because the people that gave them the information hope that it's right, and it's just a bunch of information. Whether it's right or not, who the hell knows?
Exactly.
More than likely, it's not right, because you know how you do that thing in a room where one person says something, and by the time it gets back to you, it's like completely different.
Absolutely.
Well, that's probably what's happened over the years. So.
Well, I agree with that. With everything, all the information that's ever been passed down,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been exploded and made into their own experiences.
Uh-huh.
If you give an example, so you tell a farmer a story, right?
Yeah.
He's going to tell somebody else about using farmer words.
Mm-hmm.
You tell a blacksmith, the farmer tells a blacksmith. The blacksmith's going to change it into the blacksmith story.
Yeah.
It's going to be your own experiences that you add to it to make it people understand what world is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what, in a sense, what you're talking about is like our DNA is a code that is set, and it's not by other people's influences in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we have embedded in us, and that we need to take a look back at our DNA and see what's the encoding of it to know the real story.
Yeah.
Follow the energy, and you'll know the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And there's absolutely no way that it can't all be connected. It has to be connected, every bit of it. Oh,
It's all right.
that's okay.
It's like it just kind of trailed off.
It all has to be
Hi
connected,
guys,
what he
I'm
said.
back.
Hi,
Those
Ray.
little things.
Welcome back, Ray.
Yeah.
Cyndee, you have a couple questions for Ray, too, didn't you?
Well, my notes, I think he's covered them all right now. So,
I just keep going.
Yeah.
So was that about 10 minutes?
No, we have about 10 minutes left.
Oh, do we really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, you've covered
Okay.
a lot of stuff.
I can't.
There's a couple of things that I wrote down here that I wanted to come back to, and that it was
Sure.
at the beginning, and because it's fascinating to me, and that, and you're a fascinating person to me. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just-
me too.
Wow, you're fascinating to yourself. It's like, I'm sitting between two fascinating people.
Yeah.
Cyndee on her license plate has YB normal. And she never wants to be normal, and you have no idea what normal is.
Yeah, I missed.
So I'm in good company, that's for sure. I'm like an Oreo, the creamy filling. So, but at the beginning we were talking about you were talking about your life and how you became who you are, and you brought up party drugs.
Sure.
In the past, in many different religions and cultures, and that they use drugs to open their psychic up. It's like ripping open a psychic and just being raw. And it's certain type of people, and I think you are that certain type of person that when you did the drugs, the party drugs or whatever else, I think it opened you up. It ripped you open,
Okay.
but it made you completely tear open in a sense. And it's interesting. Like I said, I'm stuck between two people because Cyndee got tore open in that aspect also, and I think what it does is it takes the whole realism of your life away and just exposes you to what is inside of you.
Yeah.
And I think you have somebody that has to grow up that way, knowing they're intuitive, but you don't have a life in that. It makes you very vulnerable to influences, and you just you just know, you have a knowing. And I just want to ask you about that. Is like, have you seen that in your practice, and that people come in here that have done that and been ripped wide open in the aspect?
I think a lot of what happens is that when people come to me for the counseling or my coaching, it is they are pretty well ripped open. They're in a phase right now, particularly in their relationship, where they're completely lost.
No, absolutely.
They're very, very lost, and they don't understand that, like the power of communication and the power of trust and being and understanding that. Oh, okay. So like in the other book where we're talking about, being selfish in relationships, I think people get to a point where not being selfish does not serve them. They're just sort of living random lives and trying to work it out, trying to be with somebody, trying to, because relationships are not just relationships in a marriage kind of thing.
Right.
They're relationships with everybody and everything. So if you don't understand who you are and what you present inside a relationship, you're not really going to be able to benefit from it all that much.
Right, absolutely.
Or actually be connected to it. So, so yeah, are they torn apart? Every single one of them.
It's more of a ripped open instead of a tearing apart. You think,
Yeah.
or it's just
Because
Yeah.
it's funny when people come, especially in relationships. The thing that I notice that I always tell them is that look at your partner. Did you ever want your partner to feel the way they do right now?
right.
Your partner's broken. They're crying. They're upset. They want to leave. They want to throw it all the way. Was that your intention when you met that person? Did you think, boy, that's somebody that I really want to screw over?
Right.
Everybody wanted to love each other, but nobody knows how. Nobody ever understands about how to communicate. They think that it's talking, but it's actually listening. And they don't know why they should do it.
Right.
And they don't understand the value to themselves. It's important for me to have a really good relationship with anybody I'm around because it benefits me.
Right.
I don't know if they're actually there. I don't know anything. I had no idea what's going on. So it has to be about me.
Right. It does.
You know?
Absolutely.
But, one of the things that I'm having an issue with right now is, I just met my bio family.
Right, exactly.
I was adopted. When I was talking about infusing, how the woman infuses a child in order to create a spirit, my thing was not about that. My mother was, she hated me, My mother hated me. My mother said when I first met her, I met her 27 years ago, and she said that she was an alcoholic and she was a lesbian and that she hated me and she tried to kill me. So what she infused me with was some pretty lousy stuff.
Right.
And I don't have an answer for this, but I think that probably maybe my first connection to universal energy was part of a survival technique when I was an infant. Maybe it's possible that it came to save me because I did suffer from it. Janet pointed it out. I thought maybe I didn't, but I'm not this crazy for nothing. I mean, I didn't wake up one day and go, holy shit, I'm nuts.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a thing of having to recognize what I was,
Wow.
Maybe that was a connection there.
I got a
Maybe
really
that's where
quick
it
question
started.
for an answer.
Sure.
I need an answer before we end at this and that. But you, being this beautiful soul that you are, do you believe that we have contracts? Do you believe that each person we meet has a contract? Do you believe that you had a contract with your mom?
Do I believe it? I don't see it that way. I mean, it could be considered something, but I see it in a larger scale as being things that need to be completed universally.
Gotcha.
Rather than individually. So when we talk about people talk about past lives. I don't think it's their specific past life. I think it's everybody's past life. It's a universal thing that happens that is an incomplete situation that we can delve into as individuals and bring that forward instead of saying that was my past life. It's just something in the universe that needs our attention.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Any more questions for Ray before we start wrapping this up, Cindy?
I know. I don't know. You've said so much. I don't know what to say.
Oh,
I mean, it was all really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I wanted to tell you something.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
All right.
And we didn't get a chance to get into it, but the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Inside the Big Bang Theory, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on. But I thought you would find this interesting because in the creation of a moment, and that's what the Big Bang is about, it's a creation of a moment, there are two lines that come in and they intersect. And the two lines are everything and nothing. And when they intersect and they create a moment, they create what's happening here, they are both different colors, and I don't know what the colors are. I've never seen them.
So you're asking me what the colors are.
I just wanted you to know that because I tried to explain what the color is. It's not in the spectrum. It's not made up of primary colors. It's nothing like that. I don't know what I'm seeing. It's like it is. I don't know. I don't know. But
how do you see it? I mean, how can you even say that you see it if you don't have any, like, does it look like a certain color or shade, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's something about it where I recognize that it's certainly not black and it's certainly not white. Okay. But it's nothing that I can't describe it. I don't know how to describe it. And I'm being blocked from describing it. It's sort of like we have a limitation of what it is that we can see, and it's basically saying that there's more out there, dummy. You're not going to get this. I get a couple of those occasionally, different things. But
interesting.
I really wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, thank you for doing so.
Have you
Cindy
ever
being
heard?
the color therapist.
Have you ever heard of color that can't be described? Has anybody's ever said that? Not in your class. Interesting.
I mean,
I don't know.
Well, I guess in a sense, like aqua is a hard color to describe. You know, the color aqua.
I would know aqua.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right, because it's a little bit light blue, but a little hint of a greenish, but yet it's not very green. It's just a real brilliant, beautiful blue, but on a lower hue level.
This is it's not made, because I've done a lot of work with colors and throughout my life and stuff, and it's not like it is created from the primary scale.
Okay.
It doesn't look like that, and I don't know what else to tell you except I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because obviously what I'm hearing too is that there's no like an underline of a blue or green or red or pink, orange or things like that. It's just something. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that. Doing hallucinogens either. I mean, I've always been connected to what happens in our in what we know is our universe, and this doesn't seem to be that.
So is the all and the nothing? Did you say it was one color, or there were two different colors? Right.
There are two different colors.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And what they do is that when they bisect each other, everything, there's a line of everything, there's a line of nothing coming in, and then as it crisscrosses, the line of everything and nothing as it bisects each other creates a space. Everything creates a space for nothing. Nothing creates a space for everything. Mm-hmm. It's a really strange thing, and it's. I'd like to talk about that sometime.
Yeah, I think that's very cool. I actually feel like I get it.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're about done.
Yep. Well, hey, Ray, it's always a pleasure having you here. It's a
Thank you.
Beautiful pleasure having you here. You're a speaker. You're a hypnotherapist. You have all these beautiful gifts and that. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can call Janet.
Hi, Janet.
What's that? Relationship? Oh. She's telling me I ran out of time, hon.
No.
Yeah, I do relationship work, and you can all that stuff. How about that? Oh, yeah. I guess my time is up. You can find me at Inner Power Insights, innerpowerinsight.com. I'm at 5039 North 19th Avenue, Suite 9 in Phoenix. And you could reach me at 602-487-4805.
That number again was?
602-487-4805.
Perfect.
And
you have a website too?
Yeah, the website is innerpowerinsights.com.
Innerpowerinsights.com.
Yeah,
So real quick,
like
the relationship thing, just what's that in a little snippet?
People, well, I do relationship counseling or coaching. I see people individually at first so that they can get themselves together. I believe that if you make each person healthier and then bring them together, they have a better chance at a healthy relationship.
Wonderful.
And then I used my 5 steps to being in a happy, selfish relationship, which I didn't get time to talk about.
You got a lot of stuff in though.
I'm really
We're gonna have to have
happy
you
with
back
it.
again, aren't we?
I'd love to. I'd love to be back.
It's great. And maybe Rod should come back and move back to Arizona so we do more of this.
Yeah, and make that part of your topic the next time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
I love that.
Just to throw out there, because you're a speaker and you're out there talking and out the crowd. What is your topic again? The whole ball of facts, right?
The whole ball of facts is basically it's a bunch of different topics. It gives me an opportunity to talk about a lot of things that come to me, things that are presented to me without the fluff. Because I was never able to read, I don't have all that stuff. I can't tell you who did what, who talked about what. So all this stuff is things that are channeled to me. And recently I came up with this idea that Rod and Zach helped me out with, was the idea that about people's attention span and how short it is. So I decided that in my next seminar, what I'm going to do is do a topic and then help a person find out what that small bit of information is in each and every topic so that they walk away with so much more. Like if you do a 2-hour seminar, you may get 5 minutes out of it if you're lucky. But I wanted to do individual little clips and break them up so that people can get a series of maybe 30 minutes out of it that will mean something. And that's all because of the internet and what's happening now with people's attention spans.
Yes, there is internet now, Ray.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
interesting.
I'm learning still.
Ray,
working
one
on
more
my
time,
phone.
the phone number again, how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's 602-487-4805, Ray
Okay.
Kupakowski, Inner Power Insights.
Perfect. And they can call you or text you and
They
that
can do whatever they
any
want.
time of day or night,
What's-
correct?
Oh, and I do sessions online too.
Oh, awesome. We're going to have to have
Perfect.
Janet be part of your
I know.
your co-host here.
Keep me
Keep you in
me
line
straight.
here. It's like, make sure you talk about this. Make sure you talk about yes, exactly.
I know
love
because
it.
there's so much to talk about. you know?
exactly. Ray, Cindy,
crazy.
it's always a pleasure having you right here.
Absolutely.
And
Guys, thank you so
Cindy,
much.
Thank you, Ray.
It's a pleasure. We love everything you do, and we want to hear more about you and see how it comes out. So love you guys all. You remember, you guys are all loved, and I'm very blessed. And you guys have a great night.